What's up, everybody? You're back with the Chosen Khan. Today's episode is brought to you by Love or Fear. The gear, it's basically what we live where we live. Love or fear, right? That's our whole mentality. Love or fear.
Yeah.
This is my wonderful guest, Sobhana
Hello.
Jaya
Madhavan.
There we go. I got it. Right, I got it. Okay, so in the podcast today, we talked about a lot of different things, right? Some incredible things. We talked about, I guess, your journey, right? But we talked about your parents' journey. We talked about, first of all, I wanted to begin with one of the most powerful things that you brought up. You talked about when you were in elementary school and what happened when you were in elementary school at that Catholic Covenant school.
Yeah, in one of the schools that I studied, they had this rule that you can only speak English. And
Where was it? Where was the school located?
this was in Tamil Nadu in southern India,
Yeah.
in a town called Coimbatore. Great school and had a fantastic education and all of that. But they had this rule that you couldn't speak any language but English during the school time. And once when I called my sister during school time, Lalita Chechi, which in my mother tongue Malayalam means big sister, Lalita, I was asked to go to the principal's room and pay a fine.
For saying Chechi?
For saying big sister in my mother tongue. And I just went on with the flow and didn't, think much about it. But later on in life, I realized how right from the get-go, we are constantly being pushed to conform on a path that society at large thinks we should be on.
Yeah.
And often that's not the path that is actually the one we want to be on, where you can be your authentic, real self. And so there's this tension. And if you decide to take it on and do something about it, then there is always a consequence and a price that you might end up paying. But you end up discovering who you are. You end up having a life where there's tremendous freedom and you're liberated from a lot of shackles, right?
And a lot of fulfillment.
And then you experience, some or a lot of fulfillment. Yeah.
So that was one story we dived into. And then actually, if you listen to the podcast, they'll hear how you went to another school and then how you were not speaking enough was it Malayalam?
Yes.
Right. Well, that's something that if you listen to the podcast, you'll hear that. Then there's something else that we discussed. You talked about how the salt and pepper hair, right?
Yes.
So as you could tell, basically Sobhana has some nice salt and pepper hair. I think it's wonderful.
Thank you.
But what happened when you first started getting silver hair?
Well, I started to gray when I was in my late 20s.
Yeah.
And I personally didn't have an issue with graying because my dad grayed in his 20s. And my first memory of him is this handsome man with salt and pepper hair.
Yeah.
So I thought it was pretty cool. But it was very interesting. It became a topic of discussion and concern for so many people. And there was this pressure to color the hair. And I could never understand what was the big deal. If I'm going to pay to color my hair into a color but white, what's wrong with white? And I just made a choice not to color my hair. I love it the way it is, and it's not a big deal. But it constantly gets picked up on by others. And I think it's because when you have salt and pepper hair, people somehow associate it with getting old. And getting old is a topic that is loaded with fear. And to me, it's just about being you.
Yeah.
And you don't need to attach any of these things to it.
And what did you say about the glass? I wanted to bring that up because that blew my mind. What did you say about the glass?
This whole decision not to color hair or, get serious about makeup or, be concerned about wrinkles and all of that stuff is like somebody deciding they're going to be more worried about the water in the glass, making sure it's drinkable and it's good to have, rather than being concerned about the price of the glass in which the water is. So these are all conscious choices. I'm just, as a person, as a human being, I'm just making a conscious choice to care more about the water inside the glass.
The substance.
So I can save a lot of worrying, a lot of time, energy, and money by not worrying about the container in which my life is contained.
I think it's like, because people worry about it too much. I think balance would be key, 100%. And the next thing I wanted to end off with was that you started blogging recently.
I did.
Right?
Yes.
And so I wanted people to listen to that a little bit. What happened? Well, why did you decide to blog?
Well, I used to write a lot when I was a young kid. And then my 20s, 30s, 40s, I just completely stopped writing.
Yeah. Why is that?
I think I got caught up in a very monotonous conformed kind of life.
Yeah.
And you're so busy and you're keeping the mirror away from you. So you just think you're doing lots when actually you're not doing a lot with yourself or with your life. And so I've been thinking about writing. And then I think I recently realized I was actually paralyzed by a bit of fear, what others will think about my writing.
Love or fear,
and, being vulnerable, all right? Because it takes a lot of strength to be vulnerable. And so over Christmas, I decided, this is it. I'm going to start a blog and start writing. And I love it. I find it very, very fun and therapeutic. And I'm learning lots from other people's blogs and connecting with people from all over the world. And I strongly recommend it to anyone who'd like to share what they're thinking about.
I think that's, you have an outlet, right? You have something where you can let it out too. And you were talking about the prompts and how you'd get, was it a word a day?
Yeah, you have a daily prompt. So the platform I use is WordPress. And so they have this prompt every day for one word to think about. So like I was telling you, for New Year's Day, it was conversation.
That's our favorite word here.
And yesterday it was reservation. And on January 2nd, it was reservation. So you then think about it. You could write a poem. You could write a paragraph or two, or you could share a picture. Just share a little bit of yourself.
Express yourself, In a world where we're told don't showcase yourself. Right? Kind of conform, like you said earlier. What you're doing is expressing yourself. And that's why I'd encourage a lot of people that are watching or listening to the podcast to really go and check out your blog. Start a blog. Start something up where you're actually expressing yourself. Go on your journey, right? And lastly, to end off, don't take yourself too seriously. But what would be your final words?
Well, I think my final words, not to be taken too seriously, is find yourself. It's a lot of fun to find ourselves, and it's a journey that could be short or very long. But it's a damn good adventure.
I like that. All right, thank you so much for coming on the show, Sobhana.
Have a great year.
Oh, it'll be a fun year for all of us. All right, everybody, thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
Get ready for the next episode. Peace. Thank you for watching our videos. Your support really means a lot to us. Check out our podcast and honestly check out the other conversations we've been having as well.